Hey there, garden friends, green thumbs, and growers. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about all my favorite plants and crops to grow in the fall for our veggie garden. So we've been really busy in the garden ripping out our summer crops, our hot season plants like our tomatoes, our peppers, cucumbers, our basil. It's pretty much done. And so now we're looking ahead. And so for me, I really like to think of that as roots, shoots, and leaves. So a lot of your cool season vegetables, you're going to notice a pattern. A lot of them are your rooting vegetables, maybe some of those stem vegetables like your celery, and then of course your flowering ones that you eat the flower bud and the leaves. So you've got your lettuce for the leaves, spinach for leaves, and you've got your brassicas. So let's get right to it. So some of my favorites to get planted right now that we're gonna be doing in our garden, and I'll maybe have some follow-up videos, like I said, the root vegetables. If you've already started, say in September as the summer's kind of waning, you can actually get your potatoes in. We actually have a few volunteers in the garden growing from a couple spare potatoes that got left behind. But for us, we're actually really going to be going hard into beets and carrots this fall. We love growing them here. It's just with carrots, they take a long germination period, so you take a little bit of patience. So you also want appropriate spacing, or else if you get too many seeds in one spot, you're gonna be in there thinning them out. So about one seed every inch or so. You can thin them out to 2 inches apart as they get bigger if needed. But what I've noticed in the past is if we overseed our carrots, then we run into the problem of the carrots just all growing and getting entwangled into each other. So that's a little pro tip right there, is don't overseed your carrots. Some people will even mix them and kind of soak them in with sand a little bit, and then kind of disperse the sand in their troughs. You can do that, but really they're easy enough. Put them in a little seed disperser, get a little trough built up in the line you want, nice and straight, and just pop those seeds out. Keep them evenly moist for that next 3 weeks, and you're gonna see them sprout, and you're gonna be good to go. But really deep, rich soil for carrots. No rocks, no old roots in there, so get that soil cleaned out with so no big debris in there. With beets, the seeds are much larger. They're really easy to hand plant, and also same thing. Spacing is really important because you want enough space for those plants to have a nice crown of leaves at the top and to help develop that nice fat swollen taproot. That's super delicious. And what's great about growing from seed is you're going to get your hands on a lot of different varieties for whether it's the beets or the carrots. And so I recommend experimenting. There's different varieties. They're going to give you different colors, different sizes, shapes, and even tastes. Even the flavor might be a little bit different on some of these. So it's worth trying out and experimenting, maybe finding something new that you might like. So beets are fantastic. And what's also great about beets is that the greens on the top are edible. And so as those are growing, you can actually grow them just for those greens if you want, and plant them more densely, and treat it more like a lettuce green, and put it in your spring mix. So beet greens are awesome, but those beet roots are so good once they develop, and they like this cool weather, which is awesome. And so with these shorter days and cooler nights and cooler weather, you notice some plants kind of respond to that. And so a lot of these plants I'm going to list right now, they actually really enjoy the cool weather, and their flavor improves. And I've noticed things like our brassicas, like our cauliflower and our broccoli, they are a mainstay for our fall garden. We actually we're really fortunate here. We're able to actually have a nice, healthy fall we can start our cool season now in the fall and have a pretty bountiful fall harvest. But because our winters are so mild here, with a little bit of planning, a little bit of protection from some of the hardest weather, we can actually extend our harvest and basically grow from now all the way through spring on some of our cool season crops. They do slow down a little bit in the middle there, but for the most part, it's one long continuous cool season that is almost split into 2 sections. So hopefully we'll have a nice big harvest now in the next few months. We can replant some of our rows and then have another extended harvest for our cool season. But we'll get into that later. It's all about the fall right now. So things for fall also are like your garlic, shallots, and onions. Those bulbing vegetables love getting in early, so that way they can have kind of overwinter, get that cold weather on them, and then when the spring comes, they just go bonkers, grow quick. And then usually by late spring, early summer, midsummer, you're pulling a lot of those out and harvesting, storing those, and those are going to be delicious. So garlic, fantastic. Just I would say just rich soil, well drained. They don't want to stay overly wet. And just plant that basal side down, that little flat side down. You know what I'm talking about. That goes down and the pointy side up, and then you basically put it about as deep into the soil as the clove is tall. So maybe usually about 1 inch or so. But just just cover it up. And then usually you'll see it overwinter a little bit, maybe get a sprout or two, and like I said, once the spring comes, they just go crazy. And fresh garlic scapes, storing your own garlic, it's awesome. And I use garlic in everything. It's so flavorful and delicious, and apparently it's good for your health. So garlic, like I said, shallots are amazing, same way. Just get good, healthy sets to plant, disease-free ones. You can go to your nurseries and all that. That's a great way to find some. And so, of course, even onions, from bunching onions to the sets, right now is a fantastic time to get those started. The cool weather is fine for them. And I actually personally had a lot of success here with leeks last year. They grew wild, so healthy. And it was actually my first year really growing a solid row of leeks, and we did several. And they were bountiful. The harvest was intense. We had leek soup, and we were doing all types of stuff with it in the kitchen and at home. And so we're gonna grow way more of those because they're just fantastic. We love those. So onions, leeks, maybe even some elephant garlic. It's a nice larger garlic with a bit more of a milder flavor, but you roast that, mix it with some butter and smear it on some sourdough. I'm telling you, you will not be let down. So those are good ones as well. And I've already brought them up, but like your brassicas, so your Brussels sprouts, which are really healthy and tasty as well. They like the cool weather. They're good to go right now. They just need to have a nice long growing cool season and keep those aphids off them. But I mean, broccoli and cauliflower out here just go crazy. They love the cool weather. And in comparison to some other cool plants I'm going to recommend, like lettuce. Lettuce is a great fall crop right now, but once our frost comes, our lettuce is not going to like that. So our lettuce will go the way of the dodo. It's gonna sadly, the lettuce can only go so far in the cool season. So once we start getting our frosts, our lettuce kind of, we bring those in, we harvest them, and they're done. So, but we have enough time now to get them in, get them hardy, because lettuce grow really quickly, and that they're fast to harvest. There's many different types. You can have your head lettuces, you got your leaf lettuces, where you can do cut and come again, which is fantastic, where you just cut the outer leaves of your developing plants and harvest those and bring them in the kitchen to eat. But you leave that terminal growth, all that inner growth, to kind of replenish itself, to regrow, and you can come back in a couple weeks, depending upon how fast it's growing, and you can keep harvesting as the season goes on. So lettuce is fantastic in the cool season, but as you compare that to some of your brassicas and even your, like I said, your kale as well, those you're going to notice actually don't mind the frost at all. Especially here, our frosts are pretty light. It actually improves their flavor a little bit, and they tend to just keep growing and growing and growing, and they don't mind it. As I said, they kind of keep going through that cool season. So they are fantastic choices. There's so many more choices for the cool season, things like peas, your parsnips, those are fantastic as well. So I highly recommend you do additional research to find out what's going to grow good in your area right now. But honestly, fall is for planting, and not just for shrubs and trees, but for a fall veggie garden. Now, if you want some good flavor in the garden, cilantro. Cilantro is actually, we always think of it as like with salsa and summer foods. Cilantro is a fantastic plant to grow. It actually is pretty tolerant of cool weather, and whenever I've tried it in the warmer days, it bolts. It goes to flower and sets really quickly to seed, which is cool, I guess, if you want to get your hands on some seed for some microgreens, because cilantro microgreens are awesome. They're so delicious. But just big bundles of fresh green cilantro. You see them in the store. They're bundled up. It's like $1.50 or better now for a tiny little bundle. We're going to grow a few rows out here, hopefully, maybe even do some in some containers, and try to utilize this nice cool weather to hopefully grow some delicious cilantro that isn't just bolting instantly. So that's another one that's going to bring you a lot of great flavor. Now, if you want more flavor, you can also, because you're sad your basil's gone, you can go to your hard herbs, your things like, well, parsley's not hard, but your parsley's a good one as well. But your hard herbs like sage, your rosemary and thyme, those are fantastic. Oregano, those can still be planted right now and grown a bit, and they come back year after year, and they just do great, and they're actually evergreen, so they're just fantastic herbs as well. So if you want some flavor, put those in as well. Like I said, fall is a fantastic time to grow in the veggie garden. Don't get discouraged because the summer's over. Get encouraged, because the cool weather's here, and that allows you a whole new envelope of plants to choose from. And so I hope you get excited for the fall. I know I am. We'll come back for some more garden adventures with us. Please like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, because we actually have a lot of planting ahead of us soon. We're going to be doing planting from direct seed. We're going to be planting in containers. We're going to be transplanting. And so a lot of the plants I described here today, some of them do really well from direct seed, like your carrots, and some do wonderfully as a transplant, like your broccoli. But all of them, no matter what you do, get them in the ground as soon as possible, because now is the time. All right, take care, garden friends. We'll see you next time.